Hi, I'm Diva from Musical Hell, and I know the score. This month on Know the Score, I'm trying out a new segment I call Musicals 101, a brief overview of some of the more iconic, influential, and otherwise necessary entries in the music theater canon. We'll be discussing where these shows come from, why they work, and what makes them such an important part of the genre. So, why don't we start things off with what is widely hailed as the greatest movie musical of all time?
Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, we're happy again.
Although it didn't perform spectacularly on its initial release in 1952, Singin' in the Rain has evolved into one of the most critically acclaimed musical films ever. AFI not only ranks it at the top of their greatest movie musicals list, but included 3 of the numbers on their list of best movie songs. Gene Kelly's performance of the title number has been referenced in countless other media, most notably and creepily in A Clockwork Orange. It is, in short, the quintessential example of the classic Hollywood musical. Not bad for a movie that had a pretty prosaic beginning. Producer Arthur Freed conceived Singin' in the Rain as a vehicle for a catalog of songs written by himself and Nacio Herb Brown. With the exception of Moses Supposes, and Make 'Em Laugh, which is widely agreed to be a knockoff of Cole Porter's Be a Clown, all the songs come from earlier movies. That's right, this is an early example of what we now call a jukebox musical. So how did we get something so wonderful from a subgenre that usually gives us stuff like this? Let's start with the screenplay, written by the noted musical comedy team of Betty Comden and Adolph Green. Since Freed and Brown's songs were mainly from the 1920s and 30s, Comden and Green went back to that era and developed a comically exaggerated tale of the film industry's transition from silent pictures to talkies. Great comedy is often rooted in truth, and this movie is no exception. The disastrous preview of Monument Pictures' first sound film is based on a lot of the struggles movie studios had adapting to sound equipment.
It is Cupid himself that calls me, and I, bitten by his arrow,
The hilarious scene where silent film stars Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont snipe at each other while filming a love scene is also cribbed from reality.
Believe me, I don't like her half as much as I hate you, you reptile.
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
I'd like to break every bone in your body.
You and who else, you big lummox?
The book has a lot of wit in it, and it's brought to life by an excellent team of stars. Even though Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds didn't get along well on set, they managed great chemistry together as Dawn and Kathy Selden. Like Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy or Han and Leia, this is one of those antagonism to romance relationships that makes you believe in their developing attraction. Donald O'Connor has some of the best laugh lines as resident sidekick Cosmo.
Lena. She can't act, she can't sing, and she can't dance. A triple threat.
But the best performance of all comes from Jean Hagen as Lena, the shrewish screen idol who, well, has a good voice for silent film.
Don, believe me, it will be a sensation. Lamont and Lockwood, they talk.
Well, of course we talk. Don't everybody?
Hagen starts off as a marvelously ditzy character, but she also makes Lena a credible threat when the script calls for it. She's naive enough to believe the publicity stunt showmance between her and Don is the real deal, and cunning enough to recognize Kathy as a professional and romantic rival and take steps to get her out of the picture. She's basically Norma Desmond written for comedy instead of tragedy. Fun fact, in the scene where Kathy dubs Lena's dialogue, the result is Jean Hagen speaking in her normal voice. So you have Jean Hagen pretending to be Debbie Reynolds dubbing for Jean Hagen. And although Reynolds did most of her own singing, when she's dubbing Would You for Lena, she's actually being dubbed by Betty Noyes.
Everybody got that? Good.
The setting also plays well into the musical format because it allows for a lot of diegetic songs. The movie musical went hand in hand with the introduction of sound. Remember, the first big sound film was a musical, so there's a lot of places to work in numbers, like the Busby Berkeley spoof Beautiful Girls, which gives Kathy her first job with Monument, or the notion of saving the latest Lockwood Lamont picture by adding songs like Would You. Even the non-diegetic pieces usually feel situationally appropriate. Take the famous title number. Don has just had the most disastrous preview of his life. His career is on the brink with only an "it's so crazy it might work" scheme available to save him. But he and Kathy are falling in love, so he's happy. How can he not be? Even though the song wasn't specifically written for this moment, it fits the dramatic mood so well that you can hardly tell the difference.
I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love.
The odd duck in the movie is the Broadway melody scene, an elaborate dream sequence conceived as a musical number Don pitches to his producer. It comes out of nowhere and doesn't advance the plot, it's just an extended diversion. But it's a diversion where Gene Kelly dances with Sid Charisse, so it's pretty easy to forgive. Which brings us to the single biggest selling point of Singin' in the Rain. The choreography is absolutely stunning. Kelly and Stanley Donen have a remarkable knack for building dance sequences around the environment to create something instantly memorable. Kelly splashing about in puddles is an obvious example, but there's also O'Connor playing with props and literally bouncing off the walls in Make 'Em Laugh, the tap dance around the mansion in Good Morning, even this bare space is utilized brilliantly with Charisse's long billowing scarf. The dances are remarkably designed and brilliantly performed. I mean, just look at that footwork. Damn. So, a clever and funny screenplay that creates a good fit for most of its pre-existing numbers, a strong cast, and some of the best dancing ever filmed. No wonder this movie has grown into such a beloved classic, and why it's one movie musical absolutely everybody should see. I'm Diva, I know the score, and now, so do you.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love.